Terminal Boy dreams of meeting his father. But when he appears, no one can hold back the tears. Jennifer Taylor held her son's small hand tightly as the doctors whispered in the hallway. At 8 years old, little Ethan was facing a battle that seemed impossible to win, and his greatest wish wasn't to play in the park or get a new video game. "Mum, why have I never met my dad?" asked Ethan with that weak voice that broke Jennifer's heart every day. The question echoed through the hospital room like a punch to the stomach. Jennifer felt her legs tremble. For 8 years, she had avoided this conversation, making up excuses, changing the subject, doing everything to protect her son from the truth. "You know it's just the two of us, my love," she replied, trying to keep her voice steady. "But I see the other boys here with their parents. Jacob from the room next door said his dad read stories to him all night. I wanted that too." Dr. William Anderson, a man with graying hair and a well-groomed mustache, entered the room at that moment. With over 30 years of experience in pediatric oncology, he had seen many families in difficult situations, but something in that boy's eyes touched him in a special way. "How is our little warrior today, Key?" he asked, approaching the bed with his stethoscope. Ethan smiled weakly at the doctor, who always treated everyone with such kindness. "Doctor, do you have a father?" he asked innocently. Dr. Anderson stopped for a moment, surprised by the direct question. "I did, yes. He's gone now, but he taught me many important things in life. I never had a dad. Is that why I'm sick?" The boy's innocent question made Jennifer run out of the room with her eyes full of tears. Dr. Anderson followed her into the hallway, where she broke down in sobs. "Jennifer, we need to talk," said the doctor, placing a paternal hand on her shoulder. "Ethan is asking about his father more often. This is affecting his emotional state, and you know how that can influence his treatment. Doctor, you don't understand. It's too complicated." "Then explain it to me. I've been here for 28 years at this medical center. I've seen just about everything. Nothing you tell me is going to shock me." Jennifer looked around, making sure no one else was listening. "Ethan's father doesn't know he exists." Dr. Anderson raised his eyebrows, clearly surprised. "What do you mean he doesn't know? We broke up before I found out I was pregnant. When I found out I was expecting, he was already with someone else. I thought it would be better to raise Ethan alone than to be a burden in his life." "Jennifer, are you sure you made the right decision? I mean, looking back, do you still think it was for the best?" She hesitated, wiping her tears with the back of her hand. "I don't know anything anymore, Doctor. I only know that my son is suffering, and I can't make up excuses for him anymore. Dear listener, if you are enjoying the story, please take a moment to like and especially subscribe to the channel. It really helps us who are just starting out, now continuing." That night, after Ethan finally fell asleep following another chemotherapy session, Jennifer sat in the chair next to the bed, watching her son. The machines made that constant noise she had grown accustomed to hearing. It was the sound of life being monitored, measured, controlled. She picked up her phone and, for the first time in 8 years, typed the name Michael Johnson into the search bar of the social network. Her heart raced when his picture appeared on the screen. He looked more mature, with a few grey hairs at his temples, but he still had that smile that made her melt years ago. Michael was an architect and had a successful firm in Chicago. From the photos, he seemed to have a comfortable life. There were photos of him with a blonde woman and 2 small children. A perfect family. He built the life he always wanted, she whispered to herself, feeling a mix of sadness and happiness for him. Jennifer closed the app without sending any message. How could she explain to him that she had a son? How could she destroy the family he had built? And most importantly, how could she handle the possibility of rejection when Ethan needed hope more than ever? The next morning, Dr. William Anderson found Jennifer having coffee alone in the hospital cafeteria. She looked like she hadn't slept. "Did you look up his father?" he asked, sitting down across from her. Jennifer almost choked on her coffee. "How did you know?" 30 years in medicine taught me how to read a mother's expressions. You have the face of someone who spent the night thinking about something difficult. I found him on social media. He has a family now, a wife, 2 young children. How can I just show up in his life after 8 years and drop a bomb like this? Dr. Anderson sighed, stirring the sugar in his coffee. "Jennifer, can I tell you a story?" She nodded. 15 years ago, I treated a little girl here at the hospital. Her parents had been separated for a long time, and the mother, out of pride, didn't want the father to know about his daughter's illness. The result? The girl spent the last months of her life asking why her father never came to visit her. What happened? The mother only told him when it was too late. The man was devastated. He said he would have dropped everything to be by his daughter's side. They lost precious time that they could never get back. Jennifer felt a lump in her throat. "Are you saying I should tell Michael?" "I'm saying that Ethan has the right to know his father, and Michael has the right to know he has a son. What they do with that information afterward is their responsibility, not yours." "But what if he rejects Ethan? What if he says he wants nothing to do with us? My son couldn't handle that right now." "And what if he doesn't reject him? What if he wants to be present? Have you thought about that possibility?" Jennifer was silent for a long time, watching people come and go from the cafeteria. Nurses rushing back and forth, worried family members, doctors discussing cases. It was a world of constant urgency, where every decision could change lives forever. "I'm scared," she finally admitted. "It's normal to be scared, but sometimes fear stops us from making the right decisions." When she returned to the room, Jennifer found Ethan awake, playing with a puzzle one of the nurses had brought him. "Mom, are you okay? Your eyes are red." "I'm fine, sweetheart. Just a little tired." Ethan watched her with that intensity only children have, as if they can see right through adults' lies. "Mom, can I ask you something?" "Of course you can ask me anything. Does my father know I exist?" The question was so direct that Jennifer felt as if she'd been punched. Ethan wasn't accepting vague answers anymore. At 8 years old, he had already figured out that something was being hidden from him. "Why do you ask that, sweetheart?" "Because if he knew I existed and didn't come to see me, that would be really bad. But if he doesn't know I exist, maybe he'll come when he finds out." The wisdom of that 8-year-old boy left Jennifer speechless. He was offering her an honorable way out to tell the truth. "Ethan, do you really want to meet your father?" The boy's eyes lit up in a way she hadn't seen in weeks. "More than anything in the world, Mum. Even if it's complicated, even if he lives far away, even if he has another family, even then, I just want to know what he's like, if he likes the same things I do, if he has the same color eyes. I want him to know that I exist." That afternoon, after Ethan fell asleep for his post-chemotherapy nap, Jennifer made a decision. She left the hospital and walked to a nearby internet cafe. She created a new email and spent 2 hours writing and rewriting a message to Michael. "Hi, Michael, it's Jennifer. I don't know if you remember me. We dated 9 years ago. I need to talk to you about something very important. Can you call me at this number when you have a moment? It's about something that happened after we broke up." She reread the message dozens of times before she had the courage to press the send button. When she finally did, she felt as if she had jumped off a cliff without knowing if there was a safety net below. She returned to the hospital with her heart racing, imagining all of Michael's possible reactions. Would he remember her? Would he answer? Would he be angry that she had hidden the truth for so long? 2 hours later, her phone rang. It was a number she didn't recognize, but somehow she knew exactly who it was. "Hello?" she answered, her voice trembling. "Jen, is it really you? My goodness, it's been so long. How are you?" Michael's voice sounded exactly as she remembered. Caring, curious, without a trace of anger or resentment. "Hi, Mike, I'm okay. And you?" "I'm good, yeah. Working a lot, but good. Jen, I got your email. I was curious. What did you want to talk to me about?" Jennifer took a deep breath. It was now or never. "Michael, can you sit down? It's a long conversation." "Of course, go ahead." "After we broke up, I found out I was pregnant." The silence on the other end of the line was deafening. Jennifer counted to 10 before continuing. "Michael, are you there? I'm in shock. Jen, are you telling me I have a son?" "Yes, you have a son. His name is Ethan. He's 8 years old, and he's a patient in a hospital here in Tampa." "A patient? What's wrong with him?" Jennifer closed her eyes, preparing for the most difficult part. He's being treated for leukemia. This time the silence was even longer. Jen, I don't know what to say. Why did you never tell me? Because when I found out I was pregnant, you were already with Amanda. I saw on the social network that you were happy together, and I thought it would be better for you to live your life without knowing. Jen, that wasn't a decision for you to make alone. She knew he was right, but at that moment 8 years ago it had seemed like the only reasonable option. I know, Mike, I know I was wrong, but now Ethan is asking about his father, and the doctors think it could help with his treatment. Where are you? Which hospital? Bayshore Medical Center in Tampa. But Michael, you don't have to... Jen, I'm coming there now. Send me the room number. Michael, wait. You need to think this through. You have a family, a wife. You don't need to feel obligated. Jen, stop. He is my son. I have an 8-year-old son who is sick and doesn't know me. Of course I'm coming there. After they hung up, Jennifer sat in the hospital corridor, trying to process what had just happened. In less than 5 minutes, the lives of Ethan, hers, and Michael's had completely changed. Dr. William Anderson appeared in the corridor and saw her state. You told him? I did. He's coming here. And how are you feeling? Terrified. What if it's a disaster? What if Ethan is disappointed? What if he doesn't like his father? What if Michael regrets coming? Jennifer, you did the right thing. Now let things happen naturally. When Ethan woke up, Jennifer was by his bedside with a different expression on her face. Mom, did something happen? You seem different. Ethan, you remember how you always ask about your father? The boy sat up in bed immediately, fully awake. I do. Why? I contacted him today. Ethan's eyes widened in a way Jennifer Taylor had never seen before. You talked to my dad? For real? I did, and he really wants to meet you. He really does? He wasn't mad that you didn't tell him before? He wasn't mad, no. He was very emotional to find out he has a son. When is he coming? Tonight. Ethan let out a joyful shout that made the nurses come running to see what had happened. When they heard the news, they all got emotional. Ethan was the favorite in the pediatric ward, and seeing him so happy was something that touched everyone. Mom, what's he like? Is he tall? Does he look like me? Does he like football? The questions came one after another, and Jennifer tried to answer everything patiently. Yes, he is tall. He has eyes the same color as yours, light brown. About football, I don't know. It's been a long time since I talked to him. Mom, do you think he'll like me? The question broke Jennifer's heart. Of course he'll like you, my love. How could anyone not like you? But what if he thinks I'm too skinny because of the illness? What if he thinks I'm weak? Ethan, your father is going to love you exactly as you are. You are a brave, smart, funny boy. Any father would be proud to have a son like you. The hours leading up to Michael Johnson's arrival seemed to last forever. Ethan made Jennifer tell and retell everything about his father. He wanted to know where he lived, what his job was, if he had a car, if he was handsome, if he was affectionate. At 7 o'clock in the evening, Jennifer received a message. I'm in the parking lot. Room number. She replied with the number and watched through the window. 5 minutes later, she saw a man in a blue t-shirt and jeans walking quickly toward the hospital entrance. Even from a distance, she recognized Michael immediately. Ethan, he's here, she said, trying to keep her voice calm. The boy immediately started fixing his hair and adjusting his hospital gown. Mom, do I look nice? Do you think he'll think I look like him? You look beautiful, my love. Dear listener, if you're enjoying the story, please take a moment to like and especially subscribe to the channel. It really helps us who are just starting out now continuing. Michael appeared in the doorway, carrying a bouquet of flowers and a paper bag. He stopped for a few seconds, looking at the boy in the bed. Jennifer could see the emotion written all over his face. Ethan, this is your father. Michael, this is Ethan. Michael approached the bed slowly, as if he was afraid of scaring the boy. Hi, Ethan. I'm Michael. Hi, Dad, said Ethan with a shy but radiant smile. You're taller than I imagined. Michael let out an emotional laugh. I brought you some flowers and some adventure books. I didn't know what you liked, so I took a guess. I love adventure stories. Mom always reads them to me before bed. Then maybe I can read some too, if you'd like. I'd like that very much. Michael pulled a chair close to the bed and sat down. For a few minutes, the two just looked at each other, trying to recognize familiar features in one another. Dad, can I ask you some questions? Of course, you can ask me anything. Why did you never come to see me before? The direct question made Michael swallow hard. He looked at Jennifer, who nodded, indicating he could be honest. Ethan, I didn't know you existed. If I had known, I would have come from the very first day. Mom didn't tell you? She didn't tell me because she thought it was for the best. But now I know, and I'm here. And are you going to stay, or will you leave after? Michael felt his heart tighten at that question, so full of fear and hope. Ethan, I'm not going anywhere. You are my son, and I want to be present in your life from now on if you want me to. I want that very much, Dad. That was the moment when Michael could no longer hold back his tears. Seeing that boy, so small and fragile in the hospital bed, yet with eyes shining with happiness, was too much for him. Ethan also started to cry, and the two hugged for the first time. Jennifer, in the corner of the room, was crying too, watching the scene she had imagined hundreds of times over the years. Dr. William Anderson appeared in the doorway at that moment, and seeing the scene, smiled discreetly and left without making a sound. Ethan, tell me all about yourself, said Michael, drying his eyes. What do you like to do? What's your favorite food? Do you root for any sports team? I like to draw airplanes. Mom said you're an architect, so you draw too, right? I do draw. What an incredible coincidence. How do you draw airplanes? Ethan picked up a drawing notebook that was on the table next to the bed and showed it to Michael. The pages were full of drawings of all kinds of airplanes. Wow, Ethan, these drawings are incredible. You have a natural talent. You really think so? Nurse Sarah always says they're nice, but I thought she was just being kind to me. No, son, they are really very good drawings. Look at the detail you put on the propellers of this one. Dad, can you teach me to draw other things? Like cars, houses, boats? Of course I can. I can bring some professional drawing materials for you to try. Really? That would be amazing. Jennifer watched the interaction between the two with a mix of happiness and melancholy. On one hand, she was overjoyed to see Ethan so happy. On the other, she felt guilty for having deprived them of that relationship for 8 years. Michael seemed to be thinking the same thing, because every now and then he would look at her with an expression that mixed gratitude and hurt. Ethan, your mother told me you're undergoing treatment here. How are you feeling? Some days are hard. The chemotherapy makes me nauseous and tired, but the doctors say I'm responding well to the treatment. And are you always this brave? Mom says I'm the bravest boy in the world, but sometimes I get scared too. Scared of what? Ethan hesitated a little before answering. Scared of not getting better. Scared of leaving Mom all alone. Michael felt his heart tighten again. That 8-year-old boy carried fears and responsibilities that no child should have. Ethan, you are not going to leave your mother alone, and now you're not going to leave me alone either, because we are going to face this together, okay? You promise? I promise. Dad, can you stay here tonight? Michael looked at Jennifer, who nodded positively. Yes, I can. I'll call my office and cancel my appointments for tomorrow. Really? You're going to miss work because of me? Ethan, you are more important than any job in the world. The boy smiled in that way that lit up the entire room. During the night, Michael stayed sitting in the armchair next to the bed, watching Ethan sleep. It was surreal to discover he had an 8-year-old son. He tried to imagine what it would have been like to be present since the birth, to see the first steps, hear the first words, teach Ethan how to ride a bike. Jennifer had gone home to take a shower and get some clean clothes, so he and Ethan were alone in the room. Dad? Called Ethan, waking up in the middle of the night. Hi, son, are you okay? I am. I just wanted to make sure you were still here. I'm here. I'm not going anywhere. Dad, can I tell you a secret? Of course. I always imagined what my dad would be like. In my daydreams, you were exactly like this. Like what? Tall, caring, someone who liked to draw, and who had eyes just like mine. Michael was moved by his son's statement. Ethan, can I tell you a secret too? You can. I always felt like something was missing in my life, but I never knew what it was. Now I know it was you. Father and son talked until dawn. Ethan talked about school, about his friends, about the drawings he made, about what life was like in the hospital. Michael talked about his work, about the buildings he designed, about the places he had visited. When Jennifer came back in the morning, she found the two of them sleeping. Michael was slumped in the armchair, with one hand stretched out on the bed, and Ethan was holding that hand as he slept. The scene made Jennifer's eyes fill with tears again. This was exactly how she had imagined it would be if Michael had known about his son from the beginning. Dr. William Anderson came by for his morning rounds and was impressed by the change in Ethan's expression. "Good morning, champ. How are you feeling today?" "Doctor, this is my father. He stayed here all night with me." "Pleasure to meet you," said the doctor, extending his hand to Michael. "I'm Dr. William, Ethan's oncologist." "Pleasure, doctor. How is his treatment going?" "Ethan is responding very well to the chemotherapy. We have every reason to be optimistic." "That's great. Doctor, can I speak with you in private?" "Of course. Let's go to my office." On the way to the office, Dr. William explained Ethan's condition in detail, the type of leukemia, the treatment protocol, the chances of a cure. "Doctor, I want to be present for everything from now on. Appointments, tests, chemo sessions, everything." "That's wonderful, Michael. The family's emotional support is crucial for the success of the treatment. Is there anything special I can do to help?" "Just keep doing exactly what you're doing." "Ethan is more cheerful today than I've seen him in the last few weeks. That's more powerful than any medicine." When they returned to the room, they found Ethan drawing in a new notebook that Michael had brought the night before. "Dad, look what I drew." On the paper was a drawing of two people holding hands in front of an airplane, one tall person and one short one. "It's the two of us traveling the world," explained Ethan. "That's amazing, Ethan. When you get better, we can take some real trips together." "Really? For real?" "For real. Where do you want to go first?" "I want to see the ocean. Mom always talked about the ocean, but I've never been." Michael looked at Jennifer, who smiled sadly. Tampa was a coastal city, but they lived in an area farther from the beach, and their financial situation never allowed for outings. "Ethan, when you get out of the hospital, the first thing we'll do is go to the beach." "Really, Dad?" "Really. We'll build sandcastles, play ball, drink coconut water. It will be amazing." "And can Mom come too?" Michael looked at Jennifer before answering. "Of course she can. We're a family now." The word family echoed in the room in a special way. For 8 years, Ethan and Jennifer had just been a duo fighting against the world. Now, for the first time, they were 3. In the following days, Michael established a routine. He woke up early, went to the office to handle the most urgent matters, and spent the rest of the day at the hospital with Ethan. He brought drawing materials, books, games. Sometimes they just talked or Michael read stories to his son. Jennifer watched Ethan's transformation day after day. He was more cheerful, more hopeful, stronger. The doctors noticed the difference too. "Michael," Jennifer said one afternoon while Ethan was napping after his chemo, "I wanted to apologize." "Apologize for what?" "For hiding Ethan from you all these years. I know it was selfish of me." Michael was silent for a while, looking at his sleeping son. "Amanda, I won't lie and say I wasn't hurt. I missed 8 years of my son's life. I didn't see him crawl, take his first steps, say his first words. I know, and I regret it every day. But I also understand why you did it. In your mind, you were protecting him and protecting me too. Was I wrong?" "You were. But what matters now is the present. Ethan needs both of us, and we are going to be here for him." "And your family, your wife, how are they handling all of this?" Michael sighed. That was the most complicated part of the whole situation. "Amanda was shocked at first, but she's an incredible person. She said she understands that I need to be present in Ethan's life. And your other children? I haven't told them yet. They're too young to understand, but eventually I will tell them, and they will meet their brother. Their brother, repeated Jennifer. It's strange to think that Ethan has brothers. Jen, can I ask you something? Of course. Did you never think about being with anyone else all these years? Jennifer laughed sadly. Michael, I work 2 shifts to keep up with the bills and still take care of Ethan. When would I have had time to think about a relationship? And now, with Ethan getting better, don't you think about having someone in your life? Right now, my focus is on seeing my son healed. We'll think about the rest later. Ethan woke up at that moment and found them talking quietly. Were you talking about me? He asked with that mischievous smile. Always, they both answered at the same time, making Ethan laugh. Dad, can you take me for a walk around the hospital? I want to show you the game room. Of course, son. Let's go. Ethan got into the wheelchair that was in the room, and Michael pushed him through the hospital corridors. They passed the game room, the indoor garden, the snack bar. Dad, everyone here at the hospital already knows you're my father. The nurses were very happy when I told them. Really? And what did they say? Nurse Sarah said I have the same smile as you, and Nurse Emily said now she understands where I got my talent for drawing from. They're right. You really take after your dad. Dad, can I ask you something kind of hard? Michael stopped pushing the chair and crouched down in front of his son. You can ask me anything, Ethan. Are you afraid that I won't get better? The question caught Michael off guard. He was still learning how to navigate these difficult conversations with his son. Ethan, I have faith that you will get better. The doctors said you are responding very well to treatment. But are you afraid? Michael took a deep breath before answering. Yes, I am. Any father would be afraid in a situation like this. But you know what's stronger than fear? What? My certainty that you are a warrior. And warriors win the toughest battles. Do you think I'm strong? I think you are the strongest boy I know. That night, Michael had to go back to Chicago to take care of some office matters that couldn't wait any longer. It was the first time he and Ethan had been apart since they met. Dad, will you come back tomorrow? Yes, son, I will. It's just for tonight. Do you promise? I promise. When Michael got home, he found Amanda waiting for him in the living room. She had a serious expression on her face. How was it today? She asked. Difficult. It's the first time I've been away from him since we met. Michael, we need to talk. Her tone of voice made Michael realize it would be a complicated conversation. Of course. What do you want to talk about? About how all of this is affecting our family. Michael sat on the couch next to his wife. Amanda, I know it's not easy for you, but Ethan is my son. I know that, and I never said you shouldn't be present in his life. Then what's the problem? The problem is that you are practically living at the hospital. I leave home early and come back late at night. The children barely see you. Michael ran his hand through his hair, knowing she was right. Amanda, he just found out he has a father. He's undergoing chemotherapy. He needs me now. And your other children, don't they need you? Of course they do, but they aren't sick. Michael, I'm trying to be understanding, but you need to find a balance. What are you suggesting? That you set up a routine, some days of the week with Ethan, other days here with us? Michael fell silent, thinking about his wife's suggestion. You're right. I'll try to organize my schedule better. Thank you for understanding. Amanda, can I ask you something? Of course. Would you like to meet Ethan? The question took Amanda by surprise. You would like me to meet him? He is my son, and you are my wife. It makes sense for you to meet. Amanda was thoughtful for a few minutes. I don't know if it's a good idea right now. Maybe when he's better at home. That's fine, no pressure. The next day, Michael returned to Tampa with a more organized schedule. He had decided to spend 3 days a week with Ethan and 4 days in Chicago with Amanda and the children. Ethan was overjoyed when he saw his father arriving. Dad, you kept your promise. I will always keep the promises I made to you. I have a surprise for you, said Ethan, taking a folded piece of paper from under his pillow. Michael unfolded the paper and saw a drawing of a family of 5, 2 adults and 3 children. "That's us," explained Ethan. "You, me, Mum, and your other 2 children." Michael was moved by the drawing. Ethan had included the half-siblings he hadn't even met yet. "Ethan, where did you get the idea to draw your brothers and sister?" "Mom told me you have other children. I thought it would be cool if one day we could all be together. Would you like to meet them?" "I'd love to. Do they know I exist?" "Not yet, because they are very little, but when they are a bit older I will tell them about you." "And will they like me?" "They will love you, just like I do." Dear listener, if you are enjoying the story, please take a moment to like and especially subscribe to the channel. It really helps us who are just starting out. Now continuing. The following weeks established a routine. Michael divided his time between Chicago and Tampa, always keeping Ethan informed about when he would be present and when he would need to travel. Jennifer observed the discipline with which Michael kept the commitments he made to his son and was impressed by his maturity in balancing the 2 families. "Michael," she said one day, "I wanted to thank you." "Thank me for what?" "For accepting Ethan with open arms, for not blaming me for hiding him from you, for reorganizing your entire life to be present." "Jen, you don't need to thank me for being a father to my son." "Yes, I do. Many men in your situation would have reacted differently. Ethan is the best thing that ever happened to me. I should be thanking you for raising such an amazing boy." "We raised him together, each in our own way," replied Jennifer. Ethan, who was pretending to be asleep, smiled as he heard his parents' conversation. Dr. William Anderson entered the room at that moment to share some important news. "Ethan, I have some good news for you." "What news, Doctor?" "You are responding so well to the treatment that we might be able to reduce the frequency of your chemotherapy sessions." Ethan jumped on the bed with joy. "Does that mean I can leave the hospital?" "Not to go home yet, but perhaps we can start with some short outings on weekends." "Dad, did you hear that? I'll be able to go to the beach." Michael smiled, touched by his son's happiness. "Yes, I heard, champ. And I already know exactly which beach we're visiting first." "Which one?" "A surprise. But it's going to be an unforgettable day." 2 Saturdays later, Dr. William Anderson cleared Ethan for his first outing from the hospital since the beginning of his treatment. Michael Johnson showed up early in the morning with a car full of beach equipment, an umbrella, chairs, a cooler, sand toys. "Dad, is all this for me?" "For the 3 of us," replied Michael, including Jennifer in the surprise. The trip to the beach was a celebration. Ethan wouldn't stop asking questions, observing the scenery, commenting on everything he saw through the car window. "Dad, the ocean is bluer than I imagined, and the sand is whiter, right? It's amazing. Can I run on the sand?" "You can, but slowly. Remember, you're still in treatment." Ethan spent the entire day exploring the beach with the enthusiasm of someone discovering a new world. Michael taught him how to build sandcastles, look for seashells, and feel the waves lapping at his feet. Jennifer watched the 2 of them playing and realized it was the first time she had seen Ethan behaving like a normal child in months. "Murray, come here," shouted Michael. "Let's take some pictures." The 3 of them gathered for the first family photos together. Ethan was beaming, his face flushed from the sun and his eyes shining with happiness. "Dad, this was the best day of my life," said Ethan as they were heading back to the hospital. "Mine too, son. Can we come back next week?" "If Dr. William Anderson says it's okay, of course we can." The following Sunday, Michael took Ethan to see his architecture office in Chicago. It was a way to show his son where he worked and perhaps spark even more interest in drawing. "Wow, Dad, you drew all these buildings?" "Some of them, yes, others were by my colleagues." "They're huge. It must be hard to draw something so big." "It seems difficult at first, but with practice it gets easier. Do you want to try drawing a building?" Michael gave Ethan professional paper and pencils, and he was delighted with the quality of the materials. "Dad, these pencils draw so much better than mine." "That's because they're special pencils for architecture. When you get good, I'll give you a complete set." Ethan spent the whole afternoon drawing, and Michael was impressed with his son's technical improvement in such a short time. Ethan, you have a natural talent for this. Have you ever thought about being an architect when you grow up? Can I really? I thought only you could be an architect. Anyone can be an architect, as long as they study and work hard. Then I want to be an architect just like you, Dad. It would be an honor to work with you one day. On the way back to Tampa, Ethan fell asleep in the back seat of the car, hugging the drawings he had made during the day. He's different, commented Jennifer. Different how? More hopeful. Before he talked about getting better with fear in his voice. Now he speaks with certainty, as if he knows he's going to make it. Having something to look forward to in the future makes all the difference. Michael, can I ask you something personal? Of course. Do you regret having had an organized life before you found out about Ethan? Michael thought about the question for a few minutes before answering. Mary, I don't regret the life I built. Amanda and my other children are important to me, but I regret not having had the chance to choose to include Ethan from the beginning. If you had known about the pregnancy back then, what would you have done? I would have taken responsibility. Maybe we wouldn't have gotten back together, but I would have been part of his life from day one. And now, how do you see the future? I see a future where Ethan is a permanent part of my life, where he meets his siblings, where we spend holidays together, where I help him with his homework and take him to play soccer on the weekend. And your wife? Does she agree with this view? Amanda is adjusting. It's not easy for her, but she understands that Ethan is the priority right now. When they arrived at the hospital, Ethan woke up excited to tell the nurses about the outing. Nurse Sarah, I went to my dad's office and I drew a building just like his. Really? That's awesome, Ethan. Tell me all about it. Ethan spent an hour recounting every detail of the outing to everyone who would listen. His excitement was contagious, and even the other patients in the pediatric ward became curious to meet his father. Mr. Johnson, called Nurse Emily, can I speak with you for a minute? Of course. I wanted to thank you for what you're doing for Ethan. The difference in his behavior is remarkable. He's more cooperative with his treatment, more cheerful, more confident. I'm not doing anything special, just being his father. To him, that means everything. That night, after Ethan had fallen asleep, Michael and Jennifer stayed talking in the hospital corridor. Jen, I've been thinking about something. About what? When Ethan is discharged for good, where are you going to live? In the same apartment where we've always lived. Why? It's just, well, your apartment isn't in great condition, and with his treatment, Ethan is going to need special care. Michael, if you're suggesting that you're more capable of taking care of him than I am, that's not it. That's not it, Jen. I'm sorry if it came out that way. Then what are you suggesting? I'm suggesting that maybe I can help financially, pay for a better apartment, cover the treatment costs, things like that. Jennifer was silent for a long time. Michael, I appreciate the offer, but I've always taken care of Ethan on my own. I know that, and you've done an incredible job, but you're not alone now. Do you want to share custody? I want to be part of his life in every way possible. If that includes sharing financial, legal, and educational responsibilities, then yes. I need to think about this. Of course. There's no rush. In truth, Jennifer knew Michael was right. The apartment they lived in was small, in a dangerous neighborhood, and her financial situation was limited, but accepting help meant giving up an independence she had cultivated for 8 years. The following week, Dr. Anderson called them in for an important conversation. I have excellent news about Ethan. What news, Doctor? Asked Jennifer anxiously. The latest tests show an extraordinary response to the treatment. The remission is more advanced than we expected. Michael and Jennifer looked at each other, hardly believing what they were hearing. What does that mean exactly? Asked Michael. It means we can start planning for his hospital discharge. Of course, he will still need regular checkups, but he can return to a more normal life. When? Asked Jennifer. If everything continues like this, in 2 weeks. 2 weeks! Shouted Ethan, who had appeared at the office door without anyone noticing. Ethan, you should be resting, said Jennifer. Sorry, but I heard you talking about me. Is it true, Doctor? I'll be able to go home. Dr. Anderson smiled at the boy. It's true, champ. You fought really well, and now you'll be able to go home." Ethan ran to hug the doctor, then his father, then his mother. "Dad, does that mean I'll be able to go to school and play with other kids, and I won't need to get medicine through the IV anymore?" "Easy, son," laughed Michael. "One thing at a time. The doctor will explain everything to us properly." Dr. Anderson detailed the entire post-discharge follow-up plan, the necessary care, and the medications Ethan would still have to take at home. "It will be a gradual adjustment," he explained. "Ethan will need to come back here once a week for checkups, and if there are any unusual symptoms, you contact me immediately." "Understood, Doctor," said Michael. "And there's one more important thing," continued Dr. William Anderson. "Ethan is going to need a lot of emotional support during this transition. After months in the hospital, going back to the outside world can be a little frightening." "We'll be with him all the time," guaranteed Jennifer. That night, Ethan could barely sleep because he was so excited. He made a list of all the things he wanted to do when he left the hospital. Go to the beach again, see his new school, make friends, learn to ride a bike, visit his father's office more often. "Dad, when I get out of here, are you going to live with us?" Ethan asked in the middle of the night. The question caught Michael off guard. It was a situation he hadn't completely figured out yet. "Ethan, I'm going to be present in your life every day. Maybe not living in the same house, but always nearby." "Why can't you live in the same house?" Michael took a deep breath, trying to find a way to explain the complex situation to an 8-year-old boy. "Son, I have another family too, a wife and 2 young children who live with me in Chicago. But can't you bring them to live here in Tampa?" "It's not that simple, Ethan." "Then can I live with you in Chicago?" "Ethan, you and your mother have your life here in Tampa. Your doctors are here, your friends." Ethan was thoughtful for a moment. "Dad, shouldn't families stay together?" The boy's innocent question made Michael rethink many things. Ethan was right. Families should stay together. But how to balance 2 different families? "Ethan, I promise we'll find a way to spend more time together, okay?" "Okay, Dad." But Michael could see that Ethan wasn't completely satisfied with the answer. The next day, Michael had a long conversation with Amanda on the phone. "Amanda, I need to talk to you about the future." "What kind of talk?" "Ethan is being discharged next week, and he's asking if we can all live together." "Michael, you know that's impossible." "Is it impossible or is it complicated?" "Both." "Where would we all live? How would we explain it to the children? How would I feel living with my husband's ex-girlfriend and their son?" "Amanda, I'm not suggesting we all live in the same house, but maybe we could move to Tampa. That way I'd be closer to Ethan." "And your office? Your clients? Our entire life is in Chicago." "I could open a branch office in Tampa, or work remotely a few days a week." "Michael, you're proposing we uproot our entire life for a boy you've known for 3 months. Amanda, he's not just any boy. He's my son, and he spent 8 years without a father. I don't want to miss any more of his life." Amanda was silent for a long time. "Give me a few days to think about it, okay?" "Of course." Michael knew he was asking a lot of his wife, but he also knew he needed to be more present in Ethan's life. Meanwhile, Jennifer was having her own thoughts. Ethan's discharge was approaching, and she needed to make some important decisions about the future. The apartment where they lived really wasn't in the best condition. It was small, damp, and in a neighborhood where she always worried about her son's safety. Besides, with Ethan cured, she could go back to working only 1 shift and dedicate more time to him. But would that be financially possible? "Jen, can I come in?" asked Michael, appearing at the bedroom door. "Of course." "About our conversation last week. Have you thought about my proposal?" "Michael, I accept your financial help." "Really?" "But with a few conditions." "What conditions?" "First, I want to maintain my independence. You can help with Ethan's expenses, but I keep my job and my autonomy." "I agree." "Second, decisions about Ethan's education and health are made together. Neither you nor I make unilateral decisions." "I completely agree." "Third, Ethan will always know when you are helping financially, so he understands that you are present and responsible." "Perfect." "And fourth, if at any point this situation isn't working for one of us, we talk openly and readjust." "Jen, these conditions are more than fair." The two hugged, sealing an agreement that would change the lives of all three forever. "Now I need to tell you something," said Michael. "What?" "I talked to Amanda about the possibility of us moving to Tampa." Jennifer's eyes widened. "Really?" "She asked for a few days to think about it, but I think it's the right thing to do. Ethan needs me close by." "Michael, would you really do that?" "He'd do. Change your entire life to be near Ethan?" "Jen, Ethan is my son. There's no sacrifice too great for a child." At that moment, Ethan appeared at the bedroom door. "Daddy, Mommy, can you stop talking in secret without me?" he said, with that mischievous smile. The two laughed at the boy's cleverness. "Sorry, son, we were talking about some plans for when you get out of the hospital." "What kind of plans?" Michael and Jennifer exchanged a look, deciding to tell Ethan the news. "Son, maybe Dad will come live here in Tampa to be closer to you." Ethan's eyes lit up in a way they had never seen before. "Really? You're going to live here?" "If all goes well, yes." "What about your other family?" "They're coming too." "You mean I'm going to meet my brothers and sister?" "That's right." Ethan jumped on the bed and started doing a little happy dance. "This is the best day of my life. Better than beach day. Better than the day I met you." Michael and Jennifer laughed at the boy's excitement. "Calm down, Ethan," said Jennifer. "It's not certain yet. Dad needs to talk things through properly with his family. But he said, if all goes well, and Dad always keeps his promises." Ethan's trust in his father's word touched Michael deeply. "It's true, son. Dad always keeps his promises." 3 days later, Michael received the call he had been waiting for. "Michael?" It was Amanda. "Hi, honey. I talked to the kids. I explained that you have another son who needs you, and that we might move to a different city." "And what did they say?" Olivia was excited about the idea of meeting her older brother. Noah is still very little, he didn't really understand. "And you? What's your decision?" "My decision is that family sticks together, no matter how complicated it gets." Michael felt his eyes fill with tears. "Amanda, are you sure?" "Michael, I married you for better or for worse. Finding out you have a sick son definitely fits the for worse part. But if you need to be near him, then we need to be near him too. I love you so much." "I love you too. And now tell me all about this stepson of mine that I'm going to meet." Michael spent an hour telling Amanda every detail about Ethan, his qualities, his fears, his dreams. "He sounds like an amazing boy," said Amanda. "He really is amazing. You're going to love him." "And his mother. What is she like?" "Jennifer is a very strong woman. She raised Ethan alone all these years, worked 2 shifts to support the household, never lost hope during his treatment. It must have been very hard for her to share Ethan with you after all this time." "It was, but she understood it was best for him." "Michael, can I ask you something?" "Of course. When we move to Tampa, I want things to be clear between us and her. We are 2 different families that are going to come together because of Ethan. I don't want any confusion or misunderstandings. I completely agree. Total transparency." "Great. Now tell me about this city. Is Tampa nice?" Michael laughed. "You'll find out soon enough." On the day of Ethan's discharge, the entire Bayshore Medical Center seemed to be celebrating. The nurses organized a small farewell ceremony. The other patients in the pediatric ward made drawings for him to take as souvenirs, and Dr. William Anderson gave a moving speech. "Ethan, in 30 years of medicine, I have rarely seen a patient as brave and determined as you," said the doctor. "You have taught us so much about strength, hope, and love." Ethan, wearing normal clothes for the first time in months, was beaming. "Doctor, thank you for taking care of me. Thank you for helping me get better." "Ethan, what cured you was your own strength. I just helped a little bit." "Doctor, can I come visit you all here at the hospital?" "You sure can, but only to visit, not to be admitted, okay?" "Okay." Dr. Anderson approached Michael and Jennifer Taylor. "Ethan will need to come back here every week for checkups. If anything is different, any strange symptom, you contact me immediately." "Don't worry, Doctor," said Jennifer. "And remember, Ethan spent months isolated here in the hospital. Readjusting to normal life can be a gradual process." "We understand," said Michael. "Take good care of this special boy," said Dr. Anderson, his eyes glistening. When they left the hospital, Ethan stopped at the door and looked back. Goodbye, hospital. Thank you for making me better. Michael and Jennifer laughed at the boy's sweet formality. Son, where do you want to go first? Ethan thought for a moment. I want to go to Mom's house, take a shower in a normal shower, and then I want to go to the beach to celebrate. Then let's go. Jennifer's apartment seemed even smaller when the three of them entered together. Michael looked around, noticing the dampness on the walls, the tight space, the old but well-kept furniture. Ethan, go take your shower, said Jennifer. I left a clean towel in the bathroom. When Ethan went into the bathroom, Michael and Jennifer were alone in the small living room. Jen, about us moving to a better apartment. Michael, I was thinking about that. And did you reach any conclusion? Maybe it really is time to accept your help completely. What do you mean? You're moving to Tampa, right? I am. What if we look for a big house where all of us can live? Michael was surprised by the suggestion. Are you suggesting we all live together? I'm suggesting we think about what's best for Ethan. He wants a complete family. If we can make it work, why shouldn't we try? Jen, that would be amazing, but is it possible? I mean, you, me, Amanda, the kids. I don't know if it's possible, but I know it's worth trying. Ethan came out of the bathroom at that moment, his hair wet and a huge smile on his face. Wow, it feels so good to take a shower in a normal shower. Dad, Mom, what are you talking about? We were talking about finding a new house for us to live in, said Jennifer. A big house? Big enough for our whole family, said Michael. With a yard. If you want, it can have a yard. And a pool? Michael and Jennifer laughed. I don't know about a pool, son. That's okay. The important thing is that we're all going to live together. That afternoon, they went to the beach to celebrate Ethan's discharge. It was different from their first outing. Ethan was stronger, had more color, and was more energetic. Dad, Mom, can I go in the water? You can, but only up to your knees, said Jennifer. Ethan ran towards the ocean as if he were running towards the future. Michael and Jennifer watched from a distance, moved by the boy's vitality. Jen, I think we did it, said Michael. Did what? Saved him, given him the family he always wanted, shown him that love is stronger than any obstacle. There's still a lot to figure out, Michael. I know. But look at him over there. Look how happy he is. That alone is worth all the challenges we still have to face. Ethan came running back from the water, all wet and smiling. Dad, Mom, did you see? I managed to stand up while the waves were crashing into me. We saw, son. You're so strong. I'm strong like my parents, said Ethan, hugging them both at the same time. 2 months later, the move was complete. Michael, Amanda, and their 2 young children had moved to Tampa and found a house big enough to also host Jennifer and Ethan on the weekends. The first meeting between Ethan and his half-siblings was magical. Olivia, who was 5, was fascinated with her big brother, and Noah, who was 3, followed Ethan everywhere. Ethan, do you want to play dolls with me? Asked Olivia. I do, but will you play cars with me afterwards? I will. Amanda and Jennifer, initially shy with each other, soon discovered they had a lot in common. They were both dedicated mothers. They had both given up personal things for their children, and they both wanted the best for their kids. Jennifer, can I ask you something? Amanda said during a family lunch. Of course. How were you so strong all those years? By looking at him, Jennifer replied, pointing to Ethan, who was playing with his siblings in the backyard. He gave me the strength to be strong. It must have been so hard all alone. It was. But every sacrifice was worth it. Jennifer, I want you to know that I really admire you, and I feel honored to share this expanded family with you. Thank you, Amanda. That means a lot to me. Michael watched the 2 women talking and was moved. His family wasn't conventional, but it was perfect just the way it was. Dad, Ethan shouted from the backyard, come play with us. I'm coming. Michael joined the children in the backyard where they were building a fort with sheets and chairs. Dad, this fort is for our whole family, explained Ethan. And does everybody fit? Everybody fits. Family is like that. There's always room for one more. Michael smiled, thinking about the wisdom of his 8-year-old son. Ethan, can I ask you something? Sure, Dad. Are you happy now? Ethan stopped playing, and looked seriously at his father. "Dad, I always dreamed of having a big family. Now I have you, Mom, Aunt Amanda, Olivia, and Noah, and all of you love me." "That's true. So yes, I'm very happy. Happier than I thought I could be." "And what about the illness? Do you still get worried?" "Sometimes. But when I get scared, I remember I have this whole family to take care of me. Then the fear goes away." Michael hugged his son, moved by his maturity and wisdom. "Dad, can I tell you a secret?" "You can." "When I was in the hospital and felt sad, I used to draw happy families. Now I don't need to draw anymore. I live in a happy family." "Ethan, you know you're the one who created this family, right?" "What do you mean?" "You're the one who made your mother brave enough to look for me. You're the one who taught me to be a better father. You're the one who brought us all together. So I did a good thing?" "You did the most beautiful thing in the world, son." That night, after all the children were asleep, Michael, Amanda, and Jennifer stayed up talking in the living room. "Do you think this will work in the long run?" asked Jennifer. "I don't know," Amanda replied, "but I know we're trying to do the right thing for the children." "And that's already more than most families manage," Michael added. "You know what I think is the most amazing thing about all this?" said Jennifer. "What?" the other two asked. "It's that Ethan managed to heal more than just his illness. He healed our fears, our hurts, our insecurities. He taught us that family isn't about blood or living in the same house. It's about love." "It's true," said Amanda. "I never thought I could love a child that wasn't my own. But I love Ethan as if he had been born from me." "And I never thought I could share my son with other people without losing him," said Jennifer. "But actually I didn't share Ethan. I multiplied the love he receives." Michael looked at the two most important women in his life and felt like the luckiest man in the world. "You two are amazing," he said. "Ethan couldn't have better mothers." "Mothers?" asked Amanda, smiling. "That's what he calls you two," explained Michael. "You are Mom Amanda and Jen is Mom Jennifer." "He said that?" asked Jennifer, moved. "He did. And he also said that now he has twice as many mothers to take care of him." The three of them started laughing and crying at the same time. A year later, Ethan was completely healed. The tests showed he was in total remission, and Dr. William Anderson had reduced the checkups to just once every 3 months. "Ethan, I have very good news for you," said Dr. Anderson during a routine checkup. "What news, doctor?" "You are officially cured. You don't need to come back here for treatment anymore." Ethan was silent for a moment, processing the information. "Does that mean I'll never get sick again?" "Well, you can get sick like any normal child gets. A cold, the flu, those things. But the leukemia won't come back." "Doctor, does that mean I can play soccer?" "You can play soccer. You can swim, you can run, you can do everything a normal child does." Ethan ran out of the office to tell the news to his parents, who were waiting in the waiting room. "Dad, Mom, I'm really cured. The doctor said I can do everything." Michael and Jennifer hugged each other, crying with happiness. "Ethan, did you hear that?" "You won," said Michael. "We won, Dad. Our family won." That night, the whole family got together to celebrate. Amanda made a special cake. Jennifer prepared Ethan's favorite food, and the children decorated the house with drawings and posters. "Ethan," said Michael, raising a glass of juice for a toast, "you taught us that miracles exist, that love heals everything, and that family is the most important thing in the world." "No, Dad," replied Ethan. "You taught me that. You showed me that I was never alone." "Ethan, what do you want to do now that you're completely cured?" asked Amanda. "I want to learn to play soccer with Dad. I want to teach Olivia how to draw airplanes. I want to help Mom Jennifer with her work. And I want to grow up to be an architect like Dad." "And is there anything else?" asked Jennifer. "Yes, there is. I want our family to always be like this, together, happy and full of love." "That's a promise," they all said at the same time. 2 years later, Ethan was at his new school, had a group of friends, played soccer on the neighborhood kids team, and his architectural drawings were so good that Michael displayed them in the office. Olivia and Noah considered Ethan the best big brother in the world, and Ethan returned the favor by taking care of them both with affection and patience. Jennifer had gone back to school and was taking a business administration course, dreaming of one day having her own business. Amanda had opened a small tutoring school in Tampa and discovered that she loved teaching children. Michael expanded his office and now had clients in several cities along the Gulf Coast, and all of them, without exception, knew that all of that had been possible because of a brave boy who turned his fight against an illness into a lesson in love for an entire family. "Ethan," said Michael one Saturday morning while they were all having breakfast together, "do you remember when you were in the hospital and dreamed of meeting your father?" "I remember, Dad. Why? Did you ever imagine it would be like this?" Ethan looked around the table. Michael reading the newspaper, Jennifer preparing more coffee, Amanda helping Noah to eat, Olivia drawing in a notebook. "No, Dad. I thought it would be good to meet my father, but I never imagined it would be as incredible as this." "What do you find most incredible?" "That now I have such a big family that we need a huge table to fit everyone," replied Ethan, laughing. "And are you happy?" "I'm more than happy, Dad. I feel complete." Michael smiled, looking at the son who had changed all of their lives. Ethan was right. They were all complete. After a long journey of separations, illnesses, fears, and uncertainties, they had found what truly matters, the love that binds a family together, no matter how unconventional it may be. End of story. And you? What did you think of this touching story? Tell us in the comments which part moved you the most, and if you know any family that has gone through similar challenges. Leave your like if you were moved and subscribe to the channel, so you don't miss other stories that will touch your heart.